We got feedback.
All right, show number one in history down.
Yes.
Your first fit model show ever, my first fit model show ever. And the first thing I want to say is coaching for as long as I have, since 2002, there's not a whole lot of firsts left for me. So how cool to experience a new division. Literally the first time I've gotten to be the first part of something in the NPC, world, the first show, that was so incredible. Literally history was made, and you are kind of the talk of the town right now, which we kind of expected. We were expecting and hoping to win. From what the judges told us, it was a split panel. The tiebreaker basically went in Angie's favor, I believe was her name. But, our feedback was kind of interesting because they just kind of were like, there's not a whole lot we can say aside from, that was her day. It was very, very close. And we could definitely argue you definitely have, I think, a tighter waist, a little bit better balance. She just kind of had some tighter glutes than you. And we're not really for sure that that's necessarily what they're looking for, because they're not telling us that they want us to change that. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Even my placing, it was such a learning and growth opportunity for sure. I will say that I loved my prep, and I loved the way I showed on stage. I loved everything about it. It was an incredible experience. Um, the feedback right after the show, talked to a few judges, and they were like, stay the same. And it's bittersweet. I love to improve. You know this. I love to grow. I have a huge growth mindset. So that's something that I definitely wanted to hear. I wanted to hear get leaner or, get, tighter. I didn't hear that. So I did, though, receive feedback from one judge, Brian, I believe is his name. And he just said from the walk to the back, that's kind of where I lost my fullness. And I'm like, thank you so much, because this won't happen again. And because of that feedback, now I'm able and have a goal to work on something. And that goal is we're going to work on making our glutes look full the whole time,
Yes.
So that walk to the back, for sure.
And that lets you know how close it was, because a lot of times the judge will immediately, bam, like, you need to work on this. It was literally, he was watching you close enough that I've got to give it to this girl because the only flaw you had was your walk compared to her. Like,
Yeah,
they
so
were
close.
splitting hairs so hard for this.
I know it was tough, and it's the first one. So the judges, I truly believe it's hard to be in that position, because they don't exactly have done this before with this division. So it's tough being on their standpoint, deciding these little things and adjustments, but that's the sport of competing. You never know, and you just got to show up the best you and be proud of yourself. That's the whole point of competing, is to show what you've done and what you've been able to do in a short amount of time, and being proud of what you brought. And I 100% am, especially since the feedback was remain the same. So that tells me, okay, that it gives me that, solitude that, all right, I love FitModel. It's for me. It's in the right direction. And on to the next.
Yeah, I love it. One thing I'm really excited about is that's some of the hardest feedback you can get, and how you've taken that as an athlete. And we kind of, you're like, oh, I want to be, but you've been really good about, okay, like, this is the feedback. We're really going into this blind, aside from what people are telling us. And it's even hard for me as a coach with as much experience as I have. But for you, you've been really coachable through this. Because I think most people would be like, she had the tie-ins, we're going leaner, and from what they're telling us, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I was immediately thinking, I need to get leaner. I need to get tighter. I need those tie-ins. But I think staying true to the criteria and saying from hearing, from the judges to not get leaner,
Mm-hmm.
and even from, you and saying you looked great, phenomenal, and from Stan and all the other support I've been receiving, I think that was just me at speaking in the moment. And now I was able to reflect, look at these photos and like, wow, I look great. I don't need to
Yeah.
get leaner. If anything, just enhance my posing,
Yes.
because posing can definitely be a make or break in a split panel. And I think that's where that make and break was during that show, the posing. And that is something that we can always improve on.
Yeah.
You know?
Presentation can always be practiced and perfected. We tend to always care about how we look in the center box, but when you have a panel of 7 judges, the judge on the right hand side is going to see you differently than the judge on the left. And when it comes to those, tiebreaker situations, every judge's vote matters. So,
Yeah.
and going through and getting the feedback, I could tell which judges had you as one and which ones, maybe were like, you know, it was so close, but I had to pick, you know, it's just those numbers 1 and 2 add up at the end of the day. The lowest score gets the win. But I'm excited because we live in Vegas and, you know, in a 50-50 scenario, black won this time, but maybe red wins the next.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. And that's why I'm eager to do this one in 2 weeks. It's February 15th. It's another muscle contest show, Legends, here in Las Vegas. If the show was anywhere else, such as Arizona or in California again, I most likely wouldn't do it because of the traveling, the expenses. But because it's here in our backyard, and the more that we practice something, the more that we do it, the more comfortable we become, the more feedback we receive,
mhm.
the more likely I am to better execute at the next one. And the main goal now is the Japan show and
Yes,
to get that first pro card in FitModel.
we're coming for
We are. We're coming for
it.
it. And coming for it is, still putting in the work on posing. So I'm posing every day about an hour now and blessed to have these amazing posing rooms, here at Torture Gym and Strength Culture. Beautiful places, my second homes. I'm there now for multiple hours
Hmm.
posing and training. And we did reduce a little bit of cardio if you want to touch a little bit about changes in cardio and diet.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that, she's lean enough and we were even loading into peak week, you kind of had a runaway metabolism. Also, there was an issue with your lighter gram measurements on your scale. So we were really chasing up your metabolism into the show. But now we're able to keep food higher, have her store a little bit more glycogen. Me, you, and Stan both agreed yesterday that you look better just by having more time to relax, drop cortisol. Because there were some things the night before your show that didn't go so great, and you're such a
Mm.
champion, you've not even talked about that. You're kind of like, no excuses, we're just going to get better. But, we're in a position where her food is going up, her cardio is staying low, and she's going to have a little bit more pop and liveliness to her on stage just by reducing stress and increasing food and of course increasing some of your favorite foods. Even though you're on meal plan, we kind of select the things that Emily likes to eat, and she eats relatively clean throughout the year. And it makes it nice and easy when a client's super consistent like that.
Oh, and I was just going to add as well that this division is maintainable. So that's something that we were going to talk about
That's
is
right.
it
Yeah.
may not be made possible or an option to do one show here in Las Vegas on Saturday and the next show, do one in Japan on Saturday if you were doing bikini or bodybuilding, just because you might hold on to a lot of water and you need to get there earlier. A lot of these pros, especially for the Olympia, they come to Vegas months, sometimes weeks in advance because they want to make sure that their body is going to respond that they want it to, and they want to present exactly what they've worked on the right way. So with this new division, even Tyler said it's a maintainable physique. It's an entry level physique. and maybe holding on to a little water won't be so bad because it will show more fullness,
Hmm.
especially in my glutes. So that's the only reason we're going to be doing the back-to-back shows, and because the first one is local. As I mentioned earlier, it's right here, and the more we
Yeah.
practice, the more we're going to get better and get feedback, which I love. I love improving. Having a growth mindset is so important, especially in this sport where it's mentally challenging and physically challenging. You're putting your whole body into this, so this is something that is the point, is to keep going and to keep evolving and striving for greatness, as LeBron would say.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be on home court with your team, your family, everyone from Strength Culture. And we've had so much local support. When we go into the gym, everyone is asking about you, rooting for you. And you've had a lot of really good, wholesome support. And
I
that's so
have.
cool to see.
It's amazing to see when, someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, I was in the military and I'm also a mom, and, you inspired me to do FitModel now." And she was doing OCB, and I was like, "I am rooting for you. I am so happy. If you ever need anything on your journey, let me know." So just being able to meet, and even at the competition, I'm not there like narrow-minded, and, I love socializing, talking to people. That's my job, is I talk to people all the time. So I love hearing people's stories. I met a first-time competitor. She was doing bikini, and she's gonna do, I think, FitModel and Legends too. And I'm so excited for her. Bikini was her first show,
Nice.
and that's the purpose of these shows: is meet new people and work, and not work, but inspire each other. And we can always root for one another. There's always, it's not just like I'm going for me, it's, you can support each other and definitely have a community in this. I've met so many amazing competitors throughout the whole years. Even if you watched our vlog for show day, Emily, I met her at my first national, and my
Yeah.
only national show I've done, so we were on the same team, and we didn't know it until that show day. And so I love these shows because it's a great way to connect with other people. And even going to Japan, I've had a few people reach out to me, saying, "I'm so excited you're coming. Like, what's your plans?" And I'm asking them, "Where should I eat afterwards?"
Yeah.
And any recommendations. And so it's just a great sport to connect people from all around and meet inspiring, inspirational humans.
What did it feel like being on that stage in the center of the LA Fit Expo? Because I'll tell you what I noticed, because you hear some chatter. A few people aren't happy about this division. But I looked back because the seats were full. You couldn't sit anywhere. We were lucky that we got seats. And I looked back and there were so many people standing elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder to watch the fit model. I'm not sure if you were so in the moment, but it was packed. It's the busiest, aside from the Arnold or Olympia standing room viewing I've ever seen.
It was definitely packed. And I wanted, that wasn't honestly like on my mind when
I
I was going
wondered,
on show.
yeah,
What was on my mind is like, the judges are there and I'm here to present the best me that I've showed. But now reflecting and even walking through the expo, the people who came up to me and saw me on stage, and um, it's priceless.
yeah. I'm trying to give our audience a little bit of a view of what that was like. Because as a coach for an amateur contest, that was really cool to see that much support for the fit model division. And
Yes.
I was super amped about that because I'm watching, I'm like, this is our future here. Here's some, aspiring competitors watching this and now seeing the division that maybe I could do this in 6 months to a year to 2 years versus, it's going to take me 10 years to even be able to think about doing a regional contest. And I think that's what's so cool about this division.
Yes, it opens the door for so many people and provides so many opportunities. It's going to be a great, I think, division for the IFEB. It was a very smart move. And that was the first show. And I was
Yeah.
surprised. I mean, some shows, even Bikini in certain places, have that same amount of competitors, you know. So being the first one, the first show of the year, just announced 5 weeks prior, and to have that turnout is wow. And you can only imagine how much it's going to evolve during this
Yeah.
year. And even some of the pros next year for the first pro qualifiers. I, was talking to a pro bikini female, and she's coming back to FitModel. And she hasn't made the announcement yet, but I am rooting for her because I think it's giving a lot of these girls opportunities. And it's just a great smart move for the week.
Absolutely. I want to congratulate everyone that stepped on stage for one bravery on jumping into a brand new division. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to Emily or I because it's scary getting ready for a newer division. But, feel free to lean on us. We've experienced it now, and we want to see more fit models hit the stage this year.
Absolutely. And you'll definitely see a fit model hitting the stage in 3 weeks
Yes.
and in 2 weeks here in Vegas, the Legends Muscle Contest, and also in Japan, Tokyo. Excited. I have never been to Asia. I am having my bags packed, got my passport, ready to go.
That's awesome. And we will see you guys in 3 weeks at the Legends.